Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
JNUSU President Oishe Ghosh has made a decision to contest in the upcoming assembly polls in West Bengal. This comes after Kanhaiya Kumar, who was also a product of JNU, contested the election from Begusarai in Bihar in the last Lok Sabha polls. Now, this could usher in a fresh sort of a phase for left parties in India, and that is because the left has got used to being led by leaders who've never quite fought an election ever since their JNU or student union days. The left has seen such a steep decline in India, particularly the CPIM, which is the largest left party. The decline has been almost embarrassing. The CPM in 2004 had 43 seats in the Lok Sabha. It's now down to an embarrassing 3 seats. So that is how sharp the decline has been. The story hasn't been much different for the CPI and other left parties either. And this has happened because these parties have been led by, say, a Prakash Karat or a Sitaram Yechuri or a D. Raja, who have never dirtied their hands in electoral politics, have never fought either an assembly or a Lok Sabha election in their political careers. Fighting elections is of utmost importance. It's only because when you fight elections will you actually reach out to the voter personally. When you reach out to the voter personally is when you will know what the voter wants, what the voter aspires for, and what the voter needs. And your hunger to win your election will force you to adapt to the voters' demands, to adapt to the voters' way of thinking. And that is what then, as a leader of a party, you will apply to the whole party. What in the case of the left parties has happened is because none of these people have fought elections, they are busy just giving sermons and unrealistic diktats to the rest of the party, not quite understanding what the ground situation is. Let's talk a little bit about the decline of the left. When Prakash Karat took over as the General Secretary of the CPM in 2005, the party was at its peak with 43 seats. When it was time for him to leave in around 2014, the party was down to 9 seats. What has made the CPM decline? It's been complete disconnect from what voters want, not understanding the ground reality, dogmatic ideology, anachronistic thinking, unwillingness to adapt and change with the times. But at the heart of it all is a leadership that is completely disconnected from what is happening on the ground and from voters. In Prakash Karat's case, when he left office as the General Secretary of the CPM, in 2015 in the Visakhapatnam Party Congress, it was Sitaram Yechuri who was elected, and that was something that was celebrated and welcomed by many. I in fact was there in Visakhapatnam covering this party Congress, and many thought this would usher in a freshness in the CPM because Yechuri was seen to be far less dogmatic, far more modern, far more practical than his predecessor, Mr. Karat. However, things for the CPM did not quite seem to have changed. The party's decline continued. In fact, it wasn't just nationally in the Lok Sabha that the party was performing badly. It was losing state after state. So it lost West Bengal in 2011, a state it had held for over 3 decades. It was routed by Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress, and that rout worsened in 2015 when Mamata Banerjee came back to power again. Tripura, another CPM stronghold, fortress for the CPM with a popular chief minister like Manik Sarkar. In 2017, the party lost embarrassingly. The BJP swooped in to win that election. So neither Prakash Karat nor Sitaram Yechuri seem to have changed the fortunes of the CPM. And as I mentioned, the reason was primarily because both these leaders have not fought an election. They don't understand what it means to go out and ask for votes and to be able to deliver and talk about what the voters want, to be able to talk in the language of the voters. It's always important for the leader of the party to be connected, which is precisely why someone like Rahul Gandhi has led the Congress to 44 and then 52 seats, and someone like Narendra Modi has been able to lead the BJP to 303 seats in the Lok Sabha. It's because there is a difference in how both these leaders connect with the voters and how differently they understand voters. Coming to Oishe Ghosh and Kanhaiya Kumar, I'm not saying that there is any revolution that they're going to bring. Kanhaiya Kumar, of course, lost his election. Oishe Ghosh may or may not win her election given an aggressive Mamata Banerjee and a resurgent BJP in the state. We don't know what her chances are. But at least they've made a beginning. At least they're taking the plunge. At least they're willing to fight an election. What's happened with all these left leaders, CPM leaders, CPI leaders, is that they're so busy within their own comfortable cocoons, pandering to people who want to listen to them, talking in a language which voters don't quite understand, talking about reversing globalization, talking about neoliberal policies. These are not phrases that matter in Indian politics anymore, and that is what has happened with the left parties all these years, a completely disconnected graph as far as voters are concerned. What people like Kanhaiya and Oishe Ghosh, as I mentioned, they may turn out to be just like their predecessors. They may not really be as revolutionary in terms of understanding Indian politics. That's revolutionary in the left context that we are thinking they might be. But at least a start has been made. What it also does is it infuses fresh blood, young blood into the party, which has been a big problem for the CPM. In fact, and the CPI as well. And the CPM, in fact, in its organizational report of 2015, did talk about an aging party which was losing connect with voters. People were not joining the party. These are all concerns that were flagged by the party itself in an internal report. They were flagged, they were talked about, they were never quite addressed. And that has been the problem with the CPM. But with these two young leaders, at least it looks like the left behaves and believes that there is a life or an electoral life beyond JNU, and just winning elections in JNU is not what matters. These two have made the start. Many other young leaders from the student and youth wings of these parties must join in, must join the electoral fray, must join the electoral fray. That is the only hope left for the left if it wants to have any sort of revival in India. For The Print, this is Ruhi Tiwari. You can log on to our website, theprint.in, to read my column Politics.